us the party that they're doing this year out here?
Timing to start the headset, please.
4 doors and the VIPs to try to
Boost the ratings? Yeah, nice.
Okay. Are you still with
Are there any videos on the hill for the live feed, or is that the live feed?
That's the live feed.
I just remember that fun time on the Nordic Jacks when I had the cameras. I didn't know that. I just want to be sure.
That's it.
Just make sure I'm not like.
And don't get in front of the coffees. Don't do the coffees. They'll shoot pictures of it.
Yeah, that'd be bad.
Do you want to switch seats with me?
No, I think we're good.
Okay.
John, are we all good out here? Oh, this is not inside. Okay. Got it.
Sure, we're good.
Hi, Claire. How you doing? Claire, have you been stuck before? No. Yes, and you know Axel. I know you guys. I'm going to be skiing with you guys. I know, you're ready in January. Yeah.
Timing to the finish. Could we get a finish?
And Blair's son's going to be racing. All three of them. Really? All three of them. So what are all doing? I know Jen. Chase.
Yeah.
That's exciting.
Just that position flip, are you ready? Yeah, button it down at the lower right side.
What's that you?
Copy. I will.
Hey, Brian. I was just wondering if you were going to flip this on here and how we.
You put the
This is good. Okay. Oh no, 5:30. Okay.
Someone else can pay for
So, so I think generally, probably, I've got some background info on a lot of places. If you're kind of watching and commentating on their runs, I guess focused on that, so I'll kind of be the. I'll kind of talk about the athletes.
I was telling my wife, I was like, I don't know anybody here anymore. Do you know by chance, is there a way to turn one set of these lights off so we can see out the window easier?
Yeah, Kevin, if you have a little bit start with
That is, it's all one switch. Gotcha.
Oh, I didn't have a woman screen? No, I just got minutes.
Oh yeah, that's way better. Much better. Thank you.
We've got meat wine, we've got fire pits. We want to make some noise. Let everyone in Steamboat Drinks know we have great street racing here in Elsie. Everyone wants it tonight. Back on Thursday.
Can you please set down brush for the best games that was looking to where we're on the 53rd, so we can remote that, so it's not distracting from the weather? Got it, okay.
Brian's here. I thought he was thinking it was at 6.
Yeah, we hear about skiing and us.
He's sounded like he was on site.
Why do you have a rock? Oh. Because it's a friend. It's your friend.
It's sick if we don't get the, because we missed.
A lot of people carry it.
No, we need Brian.
Brian's the tech guy?
Brian's Steamboat Radio.
Oh, yeah.
But we missed like the first 20 women on the video this afternoon.
Oh, really?
So there's internet issues and stuff, so. I hate to miss it.
Yeah.
We have 5 forerunners for this women's second race. We are ready at the start. Let's get a clear from the bottom up, starting with timing. Timing's clear. Timing's clear.
Where's Esther sitting?
She's Rapid's clear. Road is clear. But Kevin, let's hold a minute until we get these kids off the hill. And we're going to run the forerunners, and I have another big slip group that will go. Copy that. Who are we trying to get off the hill? We have three slippers that are going down before the forerunners.
Do you want some too, Quinn?
Kevin, I'd like to request a couple-minute organizing committee hold as well. I'll keep you posted.
Alright, how long do you think you're going to need? I just lined everybody up.
They're gonna race his house.
Like I said, just 2 extra minutes. Give us some time to hopefully be organized down here so the first racer out the gate gets their fair due.
So no fluoros, huh? 2020?
Yeah.
Just for environmental reasons, or what's the...
Environmental.
Okay.
Health and environment.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Wonder if we'll see top speeds come down.
I wonder.
Look.
It'll be interesting to see.
The difference you can watch on this link. No, we're going to walk through this.
Sounds like the micro, has the speaker been like that all day on this side of the building?
Brian Harvey. Thought he was here, but I think he was at his house. Tell me that at least the live stream's working.
Do you want red or?
Test, 1, 2, 1, 2. I think that sounds a lot better. We have 5 coming at us for maybe second run of the Holiday Classic, the Murphy Roberts Holiday
That's way
Classic.
better, John.
Yes.
John, how are we coming?
We're just moments away from getting going.
Yeah, go ahead.
Storm all of us.
Alright, can I get it clear again from the bottom up, starting with timing? Timing's clear.
We are all around the winners.
Lever saddle clear.
Oh, cool. All right. Do you have live timing?
Nice job there, Tom. Thanks. Thumbs up there. Next forerunner, Elsie Harvison. What you doing? Looking good again. And you know what? Look up the hill. Where's my computer? That's right.
You guys are online, so you can just be talking.
Yep.
We must be getting ready for Christmas because I can't believe my eyes, but Santa is coming down.
And you connected that.
All right, we'd like to welcome everybody to the live video feed here for the night race of the Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic Night Slalom. My name's John Nolting. I'm here with Nick Asoyan.
Hey, John.
How's it going, Nick?
It's great. I love this. My annual tradition to get back to Steamboat.
It's going to be a fun time. We had an amazing race this afternoon to set the stage for tonight. Second run, 2 times, combined together to determine the overall winner. We've got $4,000 to the winner tonight, the biggest first place prize in our history here at the Holiday Classic.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. It's been really neat to see all of the university athletes that just got done with some of the NORAMs coming here over their Christmas break to come have a lot of fun, race for that cash purse, and then hopefully give the opportunity for our young athletes to chase some of those points.
Absolutely. We run our top 30 in reverse from the first run. So our first racer out of the gate would be Emma Birtwhistle. She was 30th fastest after the first run. She'll take us down towards Storm Klomhouse, who is our first run winner, will be the 30th racer out of the gate. And Emma Birtwhistle from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail is on course.
Just coming into view over the top, coming down towards Coach's saddle there. The ladies are starting on the skiers' left side of the hill, really steep at the top as they're coming into the pitch, and she looks like she's turning pretty well right now.
Absolutely. You want to take advantage of that first run, getting the first tracks down the course. This course set by Steamboat coach Robert Baker, and some big turns, but lots of room between the gates.
Yeah, and it looks like she's done fairly well so far. She's coming into the last couple of gates, just getting ready to cross the finish line and set the second run pace for tonight.
And she does cross with a 43.51 and into the lead. Our first racer out of the gate, and Danica Manolin has just left the start. Danica skiing for Denmark.
That's pretty cool. One of the best things about the Holiday Classic that I like every year is how much international representation there is, especially with the university athletes and people that come to Colorado specifically to ski from all over the world.
Absolutely. Danica doing some training at Birkner Mountain Academy, so she made a good trip from the east to race out here in this Holiday Classic, and looks like she's skiing well.
She sure does look like she's skiing well. Of course, the snow out here is a little bit more forgiving than back east. They've got that nice East Coast rain layer.
Absolutely. There's some firm snow underneath out there. The snow is really good here at Allison Hill. And across the line, 42.90, a new race leader, Danica Manolin. Our next racer has just left the start. This is Jose Trueblood from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail.
One of the fun things about this race as well, from the spectators, and you can see from our vantage point here all the crowd that's coming to show up, you can see almost the entire course from the bottom of the hill. It makes it really exciting.
We've got fire pits out there. We're serving hot spiced wine, some Glühwein, special Glühwein mugs, and Jose is skiing well down here. Jose, a cross-country runner in the fall, but ski racing, I think, her top sport, make her dad proud and her mom as well.
And I think that cross-country is going to help her with her endurance for this little sprint coming into the finish line crossing now.
This course a little faster and shorter than that first run, and Jose crosses, and her time 43.18 puts her into second place at the moment, just behind Danica Manolin. Megan Olson now has just left the start. She's from the Aspen Valley Ski and Snowboard Club.
Yep, Aspen, another great place to come, and everybody really makes it out here for the Holiday Classic. It's pretty amazing. It looks like she had a little slip there coming onto the pitch, but she's got it back together right now, and she seems to be making pretty clean turns as she works her way onto the final pitch here at the bottom.
Absolutely, the Aspen Racers have had a good prep season. Some good early snow there on their venue. Oh, and getting really low in that flush, but doing a great job to keep her speed together.
Yeah, and she did do a really good job with that. It is difficult. If you start to burn a little speed before this long flats, that can end you.
Did look like it cost her, though, as she falls into 4th position. As our next racer leaving the gate is a Colorado Mountain College girl. They do their training here at Harrison Hill. Xiao Tao Chekicierska. She's going to test me today.
Yeah, some of those European names for sure can be a little bit of a tongue twister. It's cool to see CMC have a team, and it's neat that they're based here out of Steamboat. It's a home race for her, so pretty exciting. I'm sure that she's got friends and family here watching, and she looks like she's punching it as she comes onto the last. A little slip there, but still in the race, and see what she can do.
Yeah, running the low line. There's a lot of room between those gates, but you got to keep the turn up above the gate, maintain your speed. She's gotten it back down here to the finish, it looks like.
And let's see how she does.
43.85 her time on that run. Puts her into 3rd place overall at the moment.
So not too bad. She obviously recovered a little bit from that. I'm sure she'd be wishing that she hadn't made those little mistakes, but still an okay run for her on the second run here as we got our next athlete coming into view.
Yeah, this is Hannah Soria. She knows this hill. She's now racing for Ski and Snowboard Club Vail, but she spent 3-4 years here at the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Lots of laps on Howelson.
Yeah, Howelson is great for that. With the the pommel lift, you get to make a lot of runs here. It's nice to have the lights. It's really great for the athletes in Steamboat to be able to come and ski here on their home hill. And of course, she's from Ski Club Vail now, like you said, but just crossing the finish line.
Yeah, and she wasn't happy with that first run. She just put down the fastest second run at 42.54, sitting in the lead by a pretty good margin. Our next racer now is Kenda Roof, another Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. She was second fastest yesterday, but Nick, all the collegiate skiers, the NORAM skiers, the big dogs, they showed up today.
Yeah, and it'll be interesting to see how that works. I was looking at the top 3 from the first run, and it looks like we had a couple of college athletes in there. She seems to be having a pretty clean run as she comes down. She just finished Coach's saddle there, coming into the last flush of the run and getting ready for the flats.
Yeah, and she's making her way towards the finish. Like I said, she was fast yesterday. It was a junior-only race yesterday. Second fastest overall with that time, 43.32 for her second run. Puts her into 2nd place right now. Hannah Soria does look like she was fast. This girl's one to watch there, Nick. Stella Johansson from the Aspen Valley Ski and Snowboard Club. This girl has a lot of raw speed. For her, it's a matter of putting it down the hill, putting it all the way to the finish line.
You know, that kind of reminds me of Bodie Miller at one point. He was always kind of win or not make it all the way. But, if she can put this run together, it sounds like, she may be able to really punch one in there.
Yeah, and she definitely is gunning it. She noticed there was some room between those gates, and she skied a fine run. This looks like it's going to be fast.
Just crossing the finish line now. Let's see how she ends up.
Absolutely, 42 flat. Stella, when she skis clean, she is going to make a big move. She started 55th in that first run, Nick. That was her start ranking and moving all the way into 1st place at this moment. Impressive run. Now, Steamboat's own Lauren Geary. Lauren from the slopes of Buck Hill came to Steamboat this year for some postgraduate skiing, and she is a great slalom skier.
Yeah, it's interesting to see those guys from the Central Division come out here. It's kind of a nice short sprint here at Howelson, but of course you've got a lot more pitch and definitely more altitude than they have out there. Looks like she skied that flush pretty clean, and she's coming to the last hairpin and getting ready to cross the finish line. Yeah,
I really like the skiing. Good and clean, but not as aggressive as Johansson. We'll see how the time stands up, and she crosses in 2nd place just behind a 42.33 her time for that run.
So pretty good, but not quite there. That's one of the exciting things that I like about doing Flip 30. You get some of these athletes like Stella that came from 55th, punch it into the top 30, get the opportunity to start earlier on in the race and have a better track. So pretty exciting here tonight.
You bet. Here comes Elsie Harvison. Elsie, another Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club girl. So she knows this hill well. Looks like she's charging.
One of the things about Steamboat Springs is they have so many opportunities. Oh, and she just got caught on her edge and went out. Looks like she's okay, though, which is the most important thing. But definitely a little bit of a bummer for her here tonight. She was punching it on the way down, but that can happen sometimes.
Not the performance she wanted in front of this huge crowd down here at the bottom on her home hill. Just got stuck on the inside edge of her left ski and couldn't get off it. And that's going to be letters instead of numbers for Elsie Harvison as Griffin Mueller gets ready to go next. Griffin, an Eastern region skier, making the long trip out to Steamboat for some night slalom racing.
Yeah, and coming into view, it looks like it's difficult to tell from down here, but there must be one really difficult turn up there because there's been a little snow tossed as these athletes come into sight.
Well, as you mentioned, this side of the hill, it's the shortest part of the hill, but it's also the steepest part. There is no break for these girls.
And it looks like the track's holding up well. You can see a couple of nice grooves where the ladies are putting their skis, and she just crossed the finish line now.
And we check the time. It looks like Mueller's going to move into fourth position, 43.08 her time on that run as we look up the hill for Georgie Sullivan. Georgie, I believe, racing out of Sugar Bowl in California, making her way out here to Howelson Hill, Colorado.
Sugar Bowl's another good place. One of my old bosses is the coach at Sugar Bowl out there, and it's fun to see so many people come here to Howelson. It's great that the Winter Sports Club has been putting this on for so many years. And I think since Howelson's been around, this race has been going for nearly 100 years now.
Well,
in some way or
in some form or another, absolutely, there's been some amazing racing on this hill. And Georgie crossing the finish line, and Georgie has a 42.19. That was the second run, but that's enough to put her overall into the lead, sneaking just ahead of Stella Johansson by 0.05 of a second. Zoe Michael now on course. She's from the Park City Ski and Snowboard Club, just zipping down Highway 40 to Steamboat Springs to come race.
Yeah, that's a very pretty drive. There's a lot of straight and flat parts, though, but it is interesting as we're starting to get towards the top 15 here, working our way into the leaders. It will be interesting to see how the course is held up and if some of these faster times from the ladies that have already come, if they start to fall. Oh, and she just got caught on her edge, stood up, and looks like she's hiking. Good for her.
Boy, I hope that photographer got that picture right there because they were only inches away. Yep. But nice move by... nice recovery there by Zoe to put it through the finish, but unfortunately, big mistake. 48.99 her time. Kind of puts her out of the running. But now we've got a CU Buffalo. She did her training at the Ski and Snowboard Club Vail. This is Caitlin Harsh. She was 17th fastest in that first run.
I'm a former Buff myself, so I'm always going to have to cheer for my home team. I'd like to see the Buffs do well, and it looks like she's just coming into sight here, passing through the saddle right in front of all of her coaches and making her way onto the final pitch.
Yeah, a little snow spraying up in that middle section where it's really steep, but a mistake there doesn't cost you too much. It looks like she's cleaned it up and is going fast down here.
Yeah, she has let it run as she comes onto the flats, and she's getting ready to go, just about to cross the finish line. Let's go Buffs.
And across the line, a good tune-up for her for the NCAA season as she takes the lead. 42.44 her time that run, and by just 1/10 of a second, she moves into the lead. Olivia Gerardo is our next skier out. She is a CU Buffalo as well.
Yeah, it was interesting to talk with some of these athletes from all the different colleges. I know a lot of them that have been doing this year after year since they were with the clubs, whether it be Steamboat Springs, Aspen, Vail, Team Summit, or whatnot. They love to come back here. They get to see all their friends in one of their favorite races of the year.
And Olivia looked like she was riding on Ralphie's back up there, getting shot out the course, but making a super athletic recovery. We'll see how much time that cost her, but it looks like she's done pretty well to get back on track.
Yeah, that's the nice thing about being on the steeper side of the hill. If you do have a small mistake, if you can recover from it within a gate or so, you have the opportunity to try to get some of that speed back before you make it down to the bottom.
And it did cost her a bit. 42.69 puts her in fourth, but only 0.2 of a second separating our top four right now. It is really tight.
It's nice to have a very close race like that. It makes it exciting for all the spectators. If you're here in Steamboat Springs, especially if you're here on vacation and you want to have the opportunity to come see some really high-level skiing, It's a great time to come out here. We've got fire pits, we've got Glühwein, lots of fun and excitement. A couple of really awesome and funny announcers speaking to the crowd outside. They've been doing that for a long time. It's just a cool venue, and it's a fun opportunity if you get the chance.
Well, we've got the winter solstice, right? So this is oftentimes a night where it's really cold down here at Owlson Hill, but this is one of the warmest holiday classics I can remember. Usually it's snowing on us, a little bit colder. I'm not saying it's toasty out there, but it's not bad. And with those fire pits and the excitement going on, it's a great night to come watch ski race.
You're right. I feel like this is the first time in the years that I can remember I've driven over Rabbit Ears Pass without being in a snowstorm. There's still lots of snow up there, lots of snowmobilers, and it looks like Mount Warner's got some nice coverage. But it is not one of the most wintry nights that we've had. However, it's a perfect night to watch ski racing because you can see all the way up to the top as we have our next athlete coming into view.
Yeah, this is Sophie Robinson. She races out of Thunder Bay, Ontario, just off the shores of Lake Superior. She was third fastest in that junior race yesterday.
And for her, this must feel like a heat wave. If she races in Thunder Bay, that's some of the coldest I've ever been in my life. I know that. And she looks like she's got it together. She's carrying some pretty good speed as she comes through the last flush into the final hairpin and about to cross the finish line.
That last 15-gate section might have been the fastest we've seen so far. Very impressive. And she moves into the lead by a second and a half. 40.93 the time on that run. The Thunder Bay slalom skier definitely showing her stuff. And now yesterday's junior race winner, Bryn Hitchcock, on the upper pitch. She's from Park City.
Yeah, just down Highway 40, like you said, and she looks like she's skiing clean. You can't really see much snow coming off the tails as she's going around every one of the turns. Right in the middle of the final pitch now, getting ready to set herself up to carry as much speed as possible onto the flats.
For me, just coming across the hill a little bit more than Robinson just before. This is good, solid skiing, but Robinson was really letting them go.
Yeah, she let them fly for sure. Let's see how Bryn does today.
And across the line, Bryn Hitchcock into second place, 1.2 seconds back. Her second run time, 42.37. Emma Hall, our next racer out of the gate. Emma is racing for Middlebury College, freshman at Middlebury. She was at Ski and Snowboard Club Vail before she took the trip out east for school.
You know, it's one of the great things, having coached and raced myself, and just like you, it's nice to be able to get yourself a scholarship to a nice D1 school and provide an education for yourself with your athletic ability. And she's coming down to the flats here. Looks like she's carrying pretty good speed right now.
Absolutely, a good, clean run. She probably remembers the Colorado snow well, even though she's out there in Vermont, and she moves into second position, 42.08 her time that run.
So it'll be interesting to see if anyone's going to be able to catch the second run of Sophie Robinson. Right now, it seems like she really put the fire down on that.
Absolutely. This is a Montana State Bobcat coming at us. Tegan Wold. Tegan, also another Vail racer. Vail sending a lot of kids to NCAA schools.
Yeah, of course, Vail, Steamboat, Aspen, three of the biggest clubs in the country, of course, and especially if you factor in all the Nordic athletes and freestyle athletes that Steamboat has, you guys really bring it as well. But I'm happy to see some Ski Club Vail athletes here today, being a former Ski Club athlete myself.
Yeah, over almost 1,000 kids here at the Winter Sports Club in all the disciplines. And Tegan Wold across the line, 125.94 combined time, second place just behind Robinson. They're getting closer, but not enough as we look up the hill to University of Vermont's Caroline Jones and the Catamount, another Ski Club Vail former athlete.
Looks like she tossed a little bit of snow as she came into our view here, so we'll see how her time goes. But as we're seeing her come down onto the final pitch, she does look like she's moving pretty quickly across the hill.
Caroline's a good skier. She really has come on in the last couple years, had some great results. She could be a force here for the Catamounts as she makes her way down to the flats. Few gates to go.
And you just have to really let them run. These last, like you said, last 8 gates, it's all about as fast as you can go, to the finish.
And Jones across, it's fourth fastest for Caroline. Her time, 42.53, as she moves back a few spots. On course now up at the top section, another University of Vermont Catamount. It is Hannah Hunsaker.
Yeah, so right now it looks like Sophia Robinson is really in the hot seat, hanging on with that fantastic second run. But like you said, Hunsaker coming down here, trying to see if she can unseat her for the top spot on the podium at the moment.
Just getting a little bit sideways up there, seeing a little bit more snow off her skis than we saw from the other racers. Getting a good finish, though, and these collegiate skiers, it's good for them to get to the finish line.
Yeah, that's one of their things they're trained to do because, of course, they're scored based on their team results. So some of those guys will hike half the course if they have to, just to make sure they finish in case another team doesn't have full finishers.
And she moves into a tie for second place at the moment as we look up the hill for Andrea Arnold, another CU Buffalo. She competes for the Czech Republic. Her mother, an Olympic slalom skier from the Czechoslovakia. Her father, an Olympic ski jumper and Nordic combiner, both in the Sarajevo 1984 Olympics.
That's pretty amazing. Definitely good heritage and genes there. A lot to live up to. Let's see if she can punch one as she comes across the finish line.
If Andrea grew up in Steamboat, I bet she'd be a three-way athlete. Alpine racing, ski jumping, cross-country skiing, and the Buffalo is finished in 7th place, 43.18, her second run time.
I'll tell you what, if I grew up in Steamboat, I would definitely have gone for the big jumping hills. That looks like way more fun to me than ski and slalom. But you know me, I always like
You would have loved hucking yourself off the big hill. You'd have been there all day long.
All day.
Would have been fun to watch. This is Daisy Daniels. She's racing out of Great Britain. We've got a few Brits in the field today.
Yeah, and the Brits, those guys are really cool. They go to France typically to train, or obviously come here to North America to train. See how she does as she comes across the finish line now.
I went out, did a coaching clinic at an indoor ski center out there in the middle of the UK. It was pretty cool. A lot of those skiers ski on dry slopes on the plastic.
Wow.
But Daisy just came through. She's in 6th place at the moment, 42.76. Her time that run is Vale's Cleo Braun makes her way down the top pitch.
Man, we're inside the top 10 from the first run, and I don't know if Sophie and Robinson just really punched it that hard, or if the snow's starting to degrade. But I'll tell you what, right now she must be pretty excited about her possibilities of being on the podium at this point. Looks like a little slip there from Cleo Braun. See how she does as she comes across the flats.
She's raced on this hill a bunch, so she's got that experience. But yes, Robinson still a second faster than everybody else on that second run, and that will hold as Braun moves into 7th place at the moment. Her second run, 42.98.
And looks like we're either missing somebody or on possibly a slight course hold for... Oh, nope, here she
there we
comes.
go. That's Carissa Cassidy, another Ski and Snowboard Club Vale athlete. We're into the top 6 from that first run now. These girls are in touch with our leader. Storm had a big advantage over Robinson by about 3 seconds in that first run, so it'll be tough if that'll hold up all the way, but let's see what Cassidy can bring.
Yeah, and I think, like you're saying, that seems like a nearly insurmountable amount of a gap, but it should at least help her to hopefully be in the top 5, maybe even on the podium as Cassidy comes across the finish line.
And Carissa Cassidy skating, hustling across the finish. She moves into 4th overall, 42.45 her time, and Robinson still hanging in there with only 5 racers left.
Well, you never know. There can, every once in a while, up at the very top part, as you come across after the first few gates, there can be a little hole that starts to develop sometimes. So there's possibility that there's something up on the course that you and I can't see. But we'll see as we get into the top 3 ladies here. Like you said, top 4 coming down now.
Yeah, Taylor Hoyt up there right now. Taylor Hoyt from Ski and Snowboard Club Vale. She's on to the upper pitch.
Yep, and looks like she's going pretty well. Just passing all the coaches right now, making her way onto the final pitch here. And, of course, it's got to bring as much speed as possible as she comes down towards the finish flats.
Overall, the snow surface has been quite solid. A few soft spots in places, but there are other spots where it is sheer ice out there, Nick.
And it looks like she just held onto her edge a little tight before that flush, and doesn't look like she's carrying a ton of speed coming across the finish line.
Well, we'll look to the clock and see, and it's not enough, but we're really close, just 0.07 of a second from our leader Robinson as she moves into 2nd place. And now we've got Andrea Komsik. She's a Croatian skier racing for the University of Denver Pioneers up on the top part of the course.
I was fortunate enough to have dinner with her at the Champions Dinner last night. She's a very nice young lady. She's studying international business, if I recall correctly, and she's actually getting ready to go from here back to Europe, possibly to race a couple of World Cups. So we have some really high-class athletes here. A lot of fun for these these younger ladies to be able to ski against these ladies.
Andrea and our next racer both have World Cup experience and are race leader. So here she comes across the line, Komsik. And she is across, and we have a new leader, ladies and gentlemen, by almost 3 seconds. Komsik with the fastest second run, 40.66, and she is absolutely dominated. But we got a World Cupper on the hill right now, Michaela Tommy. She's been in the point several times on the World Cup circuit. She's a Canadian racing for the University of Colorado.
And that's one of the really fun things about ski racing in general. If you play Little League Baseball, for example, you don't ever get the opportunity to measure yourself against a Major League Baseball player. But here in ski racing, you do. You can measure yourself against a World Cup athlete, and it's a fantastic experience for these younger men and ladies.
This is veteran skiing right down here, Nick. I tell you what, I don't know if she's let it run enough, but that was really good, clean, solid skiing. As we look to the clock, and it's not enough, into second position, 2/10 back of Komsik. Michaela Tommy currently sitting in second. We've got 2 racers left. Rosie Hust has just left the start. Rosie racing for Colby College. She was a Buck Hill ski racer before she went to Colby.
And a big puff of snow there coming into our view. And then again, it looks like she's out and she's hiking. She is back in the course. Unfortunately, that's going to probably be it for her race this evening. But, good commitment from her to finish the race and show some of these other younger athletes what it's like to be committed to something.
Rosie was tasting it. That was such a good first run from Rosie. She's going to be so bummed. And that's just not going to be enough to put her back. So there's really one more in contention, and that would be Storm Klomhouse. Storm racing at Solden, racing in Killington on the World Cups this year. And now this race might be the biggest race of her year because she's going after the $4,000 winning prize.
Yeah, it's amazing. They can have that kind of cash purse here, and it's been cultivated over almost 2 decades now, I think. And she's out. She's out.
Oh, Storm.
Oh my gosh! So unofficially, it looks like Andrea Komsik is going to be our leader unofficially.
And from 15th position after the first run, Sophie Ann Robinson unofficially into 3rd position, into the money. That's incredible.
Fantastic. Got herself, again unofficially of course, but got herself onto the podium. She must be ecstatic. That's going to be great for her as we have a slip crew coming down, getting ready for bib 30, racer number 31 for the second run here. But that's the thing with slalom. It's just there's so many gates on this hill. That's what I was like downhill. Maybe 30 gates your whole hill you have to worry about. But tough break for Storm. But there'll be other slalom races. Of course, this one's the big cash prize.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I tell you what, when you put all the money in, it was a little different approach this year with the prize money. We put it all into not all of it, but we really put a lot into first place. A big drop off to second at $750, and a drop off to third at $250 to put the pressure on first place so high. And what we saw is the fastest 2 skiers from the first run both succumbed to that pressure and fell back, and it was Komsik and Tommy who were a little bit further back in the field. Komsik ultimately who made that big jump from 4th to win overall. Really impressive.
Yeah, and I think that incentive, that big jump, like you said, from 1st to 2nd place on the purse, it really gives you something to lose instead of nothing to lose. And so you might as well push as hard as possible because it's kind of like win or nothing at all. And it just was really exciting racing. I'm definitely excited to see how the boys' top 30 is going to go because it's not going to be. I think it's going to be just as exciting.
Yeah, absolutely. So it looks like our results after our first 30 racers, and we're going to continue with bib 31 after that big slip here in just a short period. But looks like Andrea Komsik in first place, Michaela Tommy finishing in second in the Holiday Classic Night Slalom, and Sophie Ann Robinson finishing in third. Taylor Hoyt in fourth, and Tegan Wold and Hannah Hunsaker are tied for 5th place at the moment as our 31st place racer pushes out of the start. This is Avery Leonard. Avery, an Eastern Region skier.
And there's still a lot to play for the next set of ladies here. And of course, with the ladies as we go further on, probably going to be a little bit younger, definitely getting some experience here on this hill, so that hopefully in another couple of years they can play for that top prize and the top step on the podium.
Absolutely. This is an internationally sanctioned event. That's why we've got about 15 countries represented in the race today. And these skiers here in the back of the pack are looking to improve their rank so they can start higher up in the field. Avery starting 43rd in the morning run, so she moved up, and it looks like she'll move up again with a good solid run. Ava Jemison up above on the course, and Leonard finishing into 28th position.
Yeah, and one of the other nice things is that the next set of ladies here are going to have the benefit of some really great course reports from their coaches. They're going to know where they can turn on the gas, where they need to maybe apply the brake a little bit, so they have the best opportunity to come down and get some of those points results like you were talking about.
Yeah, the hill looks great. We had that big group of slippers just come by. Sequoia Anstein, the local girl, on the upper part of the course. Ava Jemison just finishing into 27th position. So a good run for Ava as we watch Sequoia Anstein, the local girl. She had a great race yesterday, moving from 34th into 11th. One of her best slalom races I've ever seen her ski.
That's fantastic for her, and probably just gives her a little bit more fire to push again tonight.
There's the crowds going wild as the local girl comes through the finish, and she'll cross into 30th position at the moment as Anna Zarubi, another Sugar Bowl racer up on the top part of the course. Victoria Cubina from Spain has just left the start gate.
And I'll tell you what, with this door open here, you can smell the smoke, you can smell the glue vine, you can see all the people here, you can hear the crowd. It's just a really festive. If you're listening to this, you need to get yourself to Howelson Hill.
Absolutely, as Zarubi crosses into 31st position. Victoria Cubina from Spain now on course. She will be followed by another local skier, Bella Amico, and Bella just pushed out of the start.
Yeah, and of course, with the clear night, like we were talking about earlier, it's going to be constantly good visibility for all of these ladies. Nice thing about that, obviously, makes it a little bit equal from one run to the next for 31st, 41st, 51st. Doesn't matter where you start, you get good visibility.
Absolutely, as Amico makes her way to the finish. Cubina finished in 32nd position. We've got Lucinda Dilworth just left the start as Bella Amico, her first year with the Winter Sports Club. She came to us from out east, and she's been great to have on the team as Amico crossing the line, and she will have a 32nd position, moving up a spot with a good second run.
And it looks like our next athlete here will be Lucinda Dilworth, and good-looking course. See some of the course workers and coaches out there. They're keeping the track really clean, so it's a good opportunity for some of these girls as they come down here in the 30s.
Cordelia Sherwood is on the upper section of the course as Dilworth crosses the line, and Dilworth with the time puts her into 34th position. We're watching Cordelia Sherwood out of, she trains at Team Gilboa, skis at Highland Hills in Bloomington, Minnesota. You get to the top of the hill and you're looking up at the skyscrapers of the Twin Cities. Short little hill she trains on.
One of the best things about that, though, is it's nice because you can live in a major metropolitan area and then be able to go train in the evening after you're done with school.
Absolutely, and she moves up a spot, 34th position for the Orono High School product. And Sasha Mueller on course up above. We've lost her. She may be did not finish. Mary Bocock looks like she's coming down on that upper part of the course.
Yeah, and that's the thing with slalom courses. There tends to be a lot of attrition, especially with a field this large. Great to see such a turnout, but definitely going to unfortunately affect some of these ladies as they come down.
Yeah, so unfortunately did not finish for Sasha Mueller. Mary Bocock, she skis for Romark Academy. Her brother Scotty, a member of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, doing a couple PG years out here in Steamboat, and Mary's putting down a nice run.
Yeah, she's skating hard across the finish line. See how her time comes out for her second run tonight.
And Mary might unofficially, yes, she moves up 34th place, so she moves up a spot. And Nick, we also had a special prize for the fastest skier that had no FIS points, meaning she's a first-year athlete that's eligible for these international races, and she had no ranking because she hadn't had any finishes yet. So there's a special prize reserved for the fastest skier in that boat. She started 82nd, moved all the way up to 34th. I think she might be in the money for that prize.
It seems like, based on those numbers, that she may be. That sounds like a pretty large bibbo to me.
Absolutely. Meredith Schwartz just finished into 37th position is Cheyenne Brown, another Colorado Mountain College skier. A lot of great skiers from Colorado Mountain College. Scott Tanner doing a great job with that program.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have a local community college, but with the opportunity to have a ski team. It's great that the Steamboat area has that for them, and they can train here at Harrison.
Yeah, and Brown moving up a spot, 37th position for Cheyenne Brown as Kate Kerwood makes her way onto the lower section. Tegan Lowe just left the start.
Kate seems to be making some pretty good turns down here. Don't see a lot of snow flying off. She may be hanging on to her edges just a touch. It takes some experience to be able to realize that you can let your skis go about halfway down that pitch as you come towards the flats.
Absolutely. This is not an easy hill. Easy for us to sit down here and talk about going faster and sticking your nose down the fall line more, but this is a challenging slalom hill. 43 turns in all, 44 gates they had to go around. Kerwood, 39th position at the moment as Tegan Lowe makes her way to the finish.
Yeah, it's nice to be able to sit here inside with everything. We got warm feet and glue vine and all like that. We're not out there in the thick of it.
Tegan Lowe moving up a few spots. A good run for Tegan. 38th place for her as Allison Cornelius. And she runs into some trouble up there, taking a long detour, but back on course.
Yeah, and she got herself back in there, try to see if she can get a little bit of a result, hopefully. But also, racing is the best training that you can have for racing. So might as well punch it when you're in a race course and paid the dues and everything like that, and see what you can accomplish.
Absolutely. Cornelius, one of those skiers that had made that big move in the first run. She started 90th in that first run, so she was really hoping for a great second run, but that mistake will set her back a bit. As we look at Bailey McSpadden, a fast racer out of Ski and Snowboard Club Vale, Sunniva Scott from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, our next racer to come at us, and McSpadden crossing with a time, that run of 44.78, a move up after a mistake in that first run. She moves up into 38th position. Here's Sunniva Scott.
Yeah, and she's coming down the hill looking pretty clean, but again, just holding on a touch too long, I would say. But the nice thing is that it looks like, she's moved up a little bit, and she has the opportunity to get just a few more spots again on the second run here.
She heard you up there, Nick, and right when you said that, I saw her start to let him run down the hill, put some good turns in, and Sunniva moving up a couple spots into 43rd position. Eliza Hodgkins is our next racer. She's another Rowmark Academy athlete, and Abigail Larrabee will be our next racer from Sugar Bowl.
Yep, and she just making her way through the flush, coming down into the last hairpin, a couple more gates, and getting ready to cross the finish line for Hodgkins.
Hodgkins with a 1:36.67. That puts her into 44th position as Abigail Larrabee is called a did not finish, some trouble up high, and we see her skiing off the course right now.
Yeah, that's disappointing, unfortunately, but there will be another day, and at least she had the opportunity to punch it up there a little bit after the first run, but this course seems to be grabbing people up top, not as much down the bottom.
Well, I fancied myself as a slalom skier, unlike you that like to go fast straight down the hill, but I was 0 for 7 my first tries on Harrison Hill here. This place is tough to ski.
It's very tough. It's deceivingly tough because it's so short and you can see the whole course. You think, oh, that's not that hard, but it's very steep. There's lots of terrain changes, and I think just a little nerves from having the crowd down here might set in from time to time.
Emily Craig, Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. She's put together a nice run down here. The crowd making lots of noise as Emily Craig skis through and moves up a few more spots. 44th position for Emily. We've got another big slip crew on the hill, Nick. I think conditions could not be any better for tonight's Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic night race.
Absolutely not. The hill seems to have held up really well, so great job for all the coaches and the course workers, and of course the staff here at Harrison that's prepped the hill, groomed the hill, and everything like that. And thank you, I would imagine, just based on looking out the window here, that's a lot of the men that have helped to slip the course, and great for them. And I would expect, obviously, the women will do the same thing for the boys next run, and their teammates, of course, men and women, and they ski with each other all year long, and good long slip crew here, making the course look good.
Yeah, a bunch of our U14 athletes coming out. This is like a World Cup race, so the young kids come out here. It's kind of like Steamboat's World Cup with all the excitement and action. The young kids get out and experience that and dream dream for the day when they'll be old enough to race in the Holiday Classic.
Well, and as you were talking about, in fact, the unofficial winner of the ladies' race today is a World Cup athlete. So it's very true that there is some top-level skiing here, and so cool for some of those young men and women to be able to see folks that they can actually see on TV racing.
You bet. We'd like to thank our annual gold support partners here at the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club: UC Health, the City of Steamboat Springs, Native Excavating, Alpine Mountain Ranch and Club, Smart Wool, Steamboat Ski and Resort Corporation, Steamboat Sotheby's International Realty, Yampa Valley Bank, our newest gold support partner, Soda Mountain Construction and Design, and of course Steamboat Radio, who's providing this live video broadcast and live event coverage on the radio at 105.7 KTYV Sports on FM.
Yeah, really cool to have the community involved like that. And I mean, that's what they do over in Europe. The whole community is behind their athletes, and I think that's the best way for us to be able to produce good Division I and World Cup athletes here, is to get the community behind them. And so thank you to all those supporters.
Here comes Olivia Snyder. She's got some ski racing genes in her family. I unfortunately had to try to chase down her dad, Casey. And Olivia crossing the line. Katie Burvey, another one with some good ski racing genes on the upper part of the course, as Olivia comes down in the 43rd position, so she's moving up a few spots. And Nick, she started 89th. That's a great move.
And I was just looking at that bib start number, and she may be close to in that running for the best improvement bib number to finish place.
A little travel scholarship from Steamboat Travel Incorporated for our biggest move up from the 999s, as Katie Burvey crosses Jaylee Hovey, a hometown girl, on the upper section of the course. Burvey moving into 46th position. Here comes Jaylee Hovey. Jaylee 85th start ranking, so she's also making a big move.
Yeah, and it's just invaluable to obviously have your home hill. You get the energy from your family and your friends, and of course you know the hill kind of like the back of your hand, and here she comes across the finish line.
Jaylee will cross her finish, and a good time for Jaylee. She moves up into 46th position, so well done. Mallory Miller now on course, a Sierra Nevada College skier, Nick. You know, one thing, there's about just over 20 NCAA schools for ski racing, but the U.S. Collegiate Ski and Snowboard Association has over 150 schools, and Sierra Nevada College, one of the stronger ones.
Yeah, it's kind of like CMC. You know, it's another good place that you can get your education and still maintain having fun of being a ski racer.
Absolutely. Mallory finishing in 48th place. Ellie Nichols from Romark on course right now. Margot McHugh just left the start.
And here comes Nichols now, getting into that final flush, trying to carry as much speed as she can across the final flats into the hairpin, getting ready to cross the finish line now.
That looked good and clean for the Romark skier, and indeed she does move up a few spots into 47th position with a good second run. Margot McHugh from Aspen now on course. Sophia Lehman has just left the start.
And Margot's coming down now, getting ready to come off the pitch. She looks like she's holding on just a little bit there. She needs to let him go, especially now she's into the flats. Try to get herself across the finish as fast as possible.
And the Aspen skier crosses into 50th position. So a good solid result for Margot, is Sophia Lehman now on course. Sophia, Argentinian descent, representing the country of Argentina. A few Southern Hemisphere ski countries represented in today's race.
And some of these athletes, both from the Northern and the Southern Hemisphere, go on the Never Summer program. They just keep going from one place to the next place, and they never see summertime. It's Southern winter, Northern winter, Southern winter.
Absolutely. They're probably cooking down there the longest day of summer today, as Lehman crosses 51st place. Megan Cazzoli now on course. She's from Pinnacle Racing. They ski out of Pine Knob, I believe, in Michigan, just outside of Detroit.
It almost looks like she's lost a pole on her right hand. It sure has, yeah. So that's going to be quite difficult. I don't know whether she has a cast or she lost her pole up higher, but that makes it very challenging to complete the course as fast as possible.
I like to be able to plant both poles on this hill, as steep as it is. So Cazzoli doing a nice job to find the finish in 54th. This is Devin Martin. Devin will be followed by Riley Puckett.
Now, so there's an interesting one, right? We've got a Puckett here in Steamboat and a Puckett there in Aspen. Two brothers, of course. Do you think there's any competition with their kids?
Oh, there's still so much competition between the fathers that for the kids, it's probably a little bit lower key. As Martin finished in 54th position, we're watching Riley Puckett, Mary-Kate Hackworthy, Colorado Mountain College and Steamboat Springs skier on the upper part. As Riley Puckett crosses Puckett, her time that run, she moves into 55th position.
All right, and like you said, the CMC skier, she's about halfway down the final pitch, getting ready to come into the flush. She needs to start letting it rip so that she can carry that speed across the finish line and see what she can do for her second run here.
You can tell MK's at home here. She hustles across the line, and MK Hackworthy into 53rd position, moving up a few spots. The Loveland racer, Jenna Sheldon, on the middle part of the course. Madeline Wayner has just left the start.
Loveland, another great place to be a ski racer at. They can rip loops out a lot over there, the Loveland Valley, another good hill, and of course they have another iconic slalom event with the Loveland Derby at the end of the year.
How many Loveland Derbies did you do, Nick?
I did a lot. I don't know, probably 10 at least, maybe 12.
Yeah, you got to at least get into the double digits on that one. I feel like I did about 30, but Jenna Sheldon into 57th position. Madeline Wayner now coming at us. She's an Osblick racer from Wisconsin. Charlotte Altman up on the top part.
Yeah, it's Central Division out here. It's another great opportunity for them with the Christmas and holiday break from school. They have the chance to travel out here, and a lot of fun here for them at Harrison.
Yeah, it was good skiing at the bottom from Madeline. She moves into 57th position as Charlotte Altman making her way down. Kendra Hoyt was the last racer out of the start in the first run. She'll be our next racer up top.
A lot of Romark athletes here tonight, it looks like.
An easy drive from Salt Lake City.
True enough.
As she crosses the line, Charlotte Altman, and she will move into 59th position, Kendra Hoyt. Racing for the CU development team right now. You know, it's hard to get on the varsity team up at the University of Colorado, but they've got a lot of ski racers and a great program that races on the USCSA circuit just underneath that varsity team.
Yeah, and you know, that's it's fantastic. She gets to come out here and compete too and still be going to college, having a great time. Let's go Buffs.
Absolutely. 61st, her position. Bridget Lennon, another Romark skier on course. Riley Adrian, hometown girl, just left the start.
So do you think it's more or less intense for the hometown kids here having all their friends and family? And you'd think it gives them some fire, but it may give them a little bit of nerves.
There is a little bit of nerves, but especially with the night race, I think there's the advantage of sleeping in your own bed. When you're traveling, it's kind of hard to do the sleep till 10 thing, kind of come out and be prepared for a night race. So when you're at home, it's a little bit easier to do that. So I say advantage hometown as Lennon's 62nd. We're watching Riley Adrian coming to the finish. She's looking for a solid slalom run here.
Yep, and she's coming through the last hairpin, getting ready to cross the finish line. Hopefully it's a fast one for her.
Adelaide Sullivan up, our next racer to come into view as Riley Adrian crosses into 62nd position, picking up another spot. Adelaide Sullivan from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail, and Winter Park racer Jenna Blatchford will be next out of the start up on the top part.
And Winter Park, I think, is hosting U16s right now, so racing going on all over the state. Of course, this is the place to be if you're in Steamboat Springs. We've got fire pits, glue vine, great ski racing.
And Adelaide Sullivan across the line, and she's into 62nd position, moving up a few spots. Jenna Blatchford onto the lower section, and Eldora racer Emily Cheek up top.
Man, Eldora, I'll tell you, that wind can whip when it's coming down the backside of the divide there. That's challenging to train there from time to time, and looks like she's going to be pushing hard across the finish line.
Yeah, Blatchford with into 63rd position. Emily Creek coming at us, and Nicole Nolting on the top part of the course has just left the start.
Hey, I know somebody with that last name.
Absolutely. This girl's got a better track record than me already, finishing solid yesterday in the junior races. We watch Emily Creek from Eldora down here at the bottom. Nicole Nolting, the hometown Steamboat Springs skier, up top. And Creek will cross the line.
And Nicole, and let's see, Nicole's coming down in the final pitch now.
Creek in 66th position as Nicole makes her way down here. She's working on trying to let her skis go, just starting to find her slalom groove. It's been a little less natural to come to her than Super G and GS.
That was always my problem. You actually get done with the turn faster than you think in your head, and you can get off those edges sooner. That was always my issue.
Absolutely, as Nicole moves into 67th position. We got another big slip crew out there. You know, I want to thank our prize money sponsors from the event, the T2 Foundation, David Baldinger Jr., the Colgan Foundation, the Edward Jones offices of Chris Puckett and David Land, Gwen Rogers, Peter Daly, David Highworth Alpine Bank, and Nick, we'd like to thank you and Emick Volkswagen's great contribution to this event to support our prize money tonight. Over $10,000 going out tonight, as well as $1,250 in scholarship for some fine racers.
Yeah, we love sponsoring this. Fred Emick, of course, grew up with me. He's an 81 birthday. I'm an 80, which now sounds really old, of course. But we love coming up here and helping keep ski racing alive and help to make this event what it is every year. And it seems like every time that I come up here, it just gets better and better and better. More crowd, more fun, more cash prizes, more top-level athletes. So it's a fantastic event, and we really love the opportunity to help to support that.
Well, we appreciate the support. Fred Emick was a good one. Loved watching you guys racing as I started in my coaching career for sure. And it's great to have you out here at Howelson Hill and helping to commentate with us.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. You know, when I retired from coaching, I knew everybody at that point. Now I feel like I know some last names, but I appreciate the help here tonight. Now, since you still know pretty much everybody, it's such a fun event, and like you said, great weather right now, great crowd, lots of fun here at Howelson.
And they're going to make some noise. We got a hometown girl, Maren Elvidge, on course right now. Maren, another first-year FIS racer, so first year that she's competing in these internationally scored events. She's a good, solid slalom skier.
And I remember my first year, like you were saying earlier, the goal is to get 2 runs put together, a couple of races put together, and work on that point profile so that you have the opportunity to start further and further towards the front of the pack, get better snow, and obviously some experience. So hopefully she punches a nice solid one down here. She comes into the final flush.
Absolutely. Maren always skiing with a lot of heart, putting everything she has into her runs. Her dad, Mike Elvidge, a University of Utah Ute ski racer, did really well, and Maren Elvidge across, and Maren will move into 66th position, picking up a spot. Abigail Shearholtz is on course. She's a Team Summit racer. Campbell Sullivan just left the start.
And Abigail looks like she got a little bit of a tweak on her turn coming up in before that flush, but now moving across the flats okay, coming into the finish line as we go.
Sullivan now in view as Shearholtz just crossed the finish, and Shearholtz moving up a few spots into 66th position. Campbell, Sullivan, Dagny Brixon will be the next racer out of the start.
Here comes Campbell now. You can see her on the video coming in through the flush, getting ready to let her skis run into the final hairpin, and moving across into the finish line, looking for a nice solid second run.
Campbell Sullivan across the line, and she moves into 68th position as we watch Dagny Sullivan, another Romark Academy skier. Parents Todd and Monica. Great pedigree for her. Great to see Dagny FIS racing as Emma Fair has just left the start gate.
And Dagny had a little bit of a hang-up on that turn right in the middle of the final pitch, but hopefully it was high enough up she could keep some speed coming across the flats.
Emma Fair now in view. She's a Ski and Snowboard Club Vail athlete as Brixon finishes in 71st position. Sophia Olson has just left the starting gate.
And Fair coming through that final flush. Oh, and she's down. Unfortunately, she got caught on her inside edge there and tipped over. She does look to be okay, which is great news, but unfortunately, that will be the end of her race tonight.
If you're going to go down at the Holiday Classic night race, you'd better do it in style, and she did about 3 or 4 worm turns down there, sliding on her side, and goes out with style as we look at Sophia Olson and Alyssa Leifer. Olson coming to the finish right now. 3 Winter Park girls in a row coming up at us. Olson, Leifer, Droll just left the start. Olson into 72nd second position. Alyssa Leifer coming at the camera right now. Beth Ann Grohl has left the start gate up above, and she's on the upper pitch.
Then these last few ladies seem to be on rapid fire coming out of the start. There's a couple of them here on the hill as Leifer comes across the finish line.
Erica Lynch just leaving the start, and Alyssa Leifer across the line into 72nd position, moving up a couple spots from her 100th start position. So that's a bibbo on the day. Beth Ann Droll towards the bottom of the course. Erica Lynch from Mammoth on the top part of the course.
That's a fun place to go skiing. Mammoth is always got lots of snow there as Droll comes across the finish line.
She finishes in 70th position, making a good move on that second run for Beth Ann. And some trouble up high. It looks like a DNF for Erica Lynch.
Unfortunately for her, evening is over. Looks like our next athlete's going to be Natasha Stocker, and she will be coming into view next, hopefully. And here she comes now, coming onto the top pitch, working her way down towards the coach's knoll. I guess on this side of the hill, it's the coach's saddle.
Yeah, just under 10 racers to go here in the ladies' race. The men will push out at 6:45, about 20 minutes from now, as the Brit...
Oh, and she's down. And let's see. She looks to be okay, so that's good. Is she going to hike or... No, she is calling it an evening. So, unfortunately, Natasha Stocker is DNF.
Yeah, and again, she'd already covered the equivalent of probably 5 of those indoor ski centers up in the UK. So she figured that was a job well enough done. Bummer to see Stoker go down as Audrey Shane now from Ski and Snowboard Club Vail making her way towards the bottom. Tessa Monroe from Aspen on the upper section of the course.
And even as good as this hill preparation is, there's just starting to become a little bit of a rut, a little bit of a shelf right at the gate on the pitch where everyone's putting all that energy into their skis. So still holding up well, but definitely a little bit more difficult for these final few ladies.
Across the line is Shane. Tessa Monroe coming at the camera right now, and Daniela Payan Cordero, a Mexican ski racer, is on the top section of the course as Shane finishes in 75th position.
Do you think that Daniela trains with Sarah Schlepper?
I bet she probably idolizes Sarah Schlepper. Hopefully they've gotten a chance to train together because Sarah Schlepper's a pretty darn fun girl to ski with.
She sure is.
And Monroe finishes in 76th position as Daniela going down. The Mexican ski racer will not finish today. Julia Wordley from the Loveland Ski Club. She also racing for Great Britain here in the International Federation of Skiing Circuit.
And here she comes. She looks like she's having a pretty quick, pretty clean run. Just passed by the coaches onto the final pitch. Seems to be moving pretty well. And she's getting ready to come into the final flush. She needs to be able to carry that speed off the pitch so she can fly across the flats.
Yeah, Julia had a big mistake on that first run. She definitely, but she wanted to finish and make sure she put in a night show. We've got a couple racers coming up that either hiked or had big mistakes so that they could ski for in front of this big crowd. And Wordley into 74th position, 48th fastest on that second run, though that's what she was looking at. As Caitlin Regroot now coming towards the finish, Danielle Taylor will be the next racer out of the gate.
We're working into the final 5. Oh, and she's down. It's hard to tell if she caught her edge or just got stuck on her inside foot. And she's okay, but out of the race is Caitlin Regroot.
Tough break for Caitlin. Beautiful night, though. I can really smell that glue vine.
they must be having it. It's got to be full steam down there for sure.
Yeah, tasty stuff. That'll keep you warm out here tonight. If you haven't made your way to Howelson Hill yet, come across the Yampa River. Parking is full over here, big crowd, but just walk across the bridge. Come on over and watch some great ski racing, some glue vine. Lots of fun stuff going on here at the base area as we watch Danielle Taylor from Team Summit.
And she is out also. Just got caught on her inside left foot coming across the hill. She's laying down. Hopefully she's okay. She's standing up, so that's a good sign. But she will DNF tonight, unfortunately.
It is hard to tell from the camera camera how steep that section is in there. It is about as steep as any slalom you're going to see on the circuit.
Yeah, and like you said, it is difficult to tell from the camera. The one thing that our spectators need to keep in mind, especially if they're watching online, is right next to this hill are Olympic-level jumping hills. So you have to imagine how steep a jump is for a Nordic jump, and that's what these ladies are skiing on tonight.
All right, and here comes Maddie Decker. Maddie, she was super bummed. She was a skier that was going to be in contention for the prize money. Buck Hill racer, now another collegiate skier out east. I'm not exactly sure what school she's going to. But Maddie putting down a good run. She wanted to make sure she had a night race here at Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic.
And it's always fun to watch some of the top 10, top 15 athletes that did hike and see what they can punch on the second run. It does show some of those younger athletes that it's possible, even with the conditions, sometimes to punch a fast run from the back.
Well done, Maddie. 34th fastest that second run. Goes to show that the course is a little bit beat up there. But the slip crew's been doing a great job. As our final racer now, another Great Britain racer, Natasha Stocker, is on course.
And she's just getting ready to pass the coaches and holding on there. She's going to make her way down. Hopefully she can keep it together in the final pitch. I'm sure she'd like to be able to close the race out for the evening, and she looks like she's having a pretty good run. And she's making her way down almost off the pitch, coming to the final flush. She's got to start letting those skis go. And here she comes into the hairpin, getting ready to cross the finish line. Couple of hard pushes and skates.
Beautiful clean turns from Stocker, just kind of ducking outside of the gate instead of knocking them down. But she is across the finish and to 79th position, so it'll be a finish for Natasha Stocker. That wraps up our women's night slalom here. We've got Andrea Komsik taking home the $4,000 first place prize, finishing in first place just 0.2 of a second out of the 4,000 was CU's Michaela Tommy. And then Sophie Ann Robinson moving up from 15th in the first run all the way to third place overall. An absolutely amazing move for the Thunder Bay skier to move into the money.
Yeah, fantastic for her. What an amazing second run for Sophie Ann. She's got to be ecstatic, even being in third place. I'm thinking, she's got to be just super stoked. Cool to see a couple of buffs and pioneers going at it, and just a couple of tenths, like you said. I'm sure Andy Leroy would be happy, although I know he's on a beach somewhere in the Caribbean right now for Christmas. So when he gets back, I'm sure that he'll give congratulations to Andrea Komsik.
A well-deserved break for Andy. Andrea's teammate there, Storm Klamaus. Unfortunately, we were excited about her run and potential, but she went out in the middle section of the course, so that was unfortunate, giving Komsik the win. We're going to sign off, and we will be back in about just over 10 minutes for the men's race. We'll have forerunners and a special ceremony here for Murphy Roberts, of whom this race is named after. Murphy raced many holiday classics, and we really miss Murph, but we'll have a little bit of memory for him. His brother Hig will be our first forerunner out of the gate before the men, so that'll be a lot of fun. And then the first racer in the men's race will kick out at 6:45, so don't go far. We'll be right back.
Perfect. See you soon.
Sorry I was late. I totally, I had the times reversed, and I had it going an hour later in my mind. But you guys sounded great. Like, I went on Boxcast, and they're freaking phenomenal. Like, like he's figured out the camera. You guys sounded great. I could not. We had a problem with the internet, and so I plugged in you guys into another port, and it worked. But it was at that point we had dead air for like 5 minutes, so I went back to Fox. But we're good now for the men's race. So yeah, you'll know, and I'll cue you. So all of the above. So we'll have have it so you can hear the lead in.
Yeah, so we
Hook you guys up.
think about
So, but it looks great, and on the video it looked phenomenal. You guys sounded great. And so I was watching it, and it was like, so, I mean, I think the broadcast portion is kind of like irrelevant. Like, I kind of think we should just promote the hell out of it, get people down here, and next year just not do the radio side of it, and just do the video side of it well. And then, because I'm looking online, we've got a couple of us people's watching.
So what do you type in for the YouTube?
Radio.
Still there.
Yeah.
Hey, Brian.
Gardner Flynn.
How are you, man?
You guys sound great.
Thanks. Good. I've been pumping up the live feed.
Yeah. Just radio. I love this. Thanks. Thanks, man. You're not looking at like crazy, are you?
Oh, your cats, man. I thought that last drive we were going to do.
Oh, yeah. And then in June of 18, so go to YouTube and type in a year old with me. He's like, I got 10 years of this. I'm going to run this. I think 100 investments. So we started pushing sales for more, blah, blah, blah. And then like June of 18, the largest program in the country, they have like 100% of McDonald's content, 80% of McDonald's, 100% of Wendy's, 100% of Dunkin' Donuts, and a company called SD. Wow. That's for sale. Kind of did that for a while. And they made an offer.
You played hard to get.
They made an offer at Thanksgiving. We said, nah, not interested. So they raised their offer by 25%. Signed a term sheet on December 28th.
We are. It's nice and warm and comfy.
And you're like,
Hey,
and
you did it right. You made it right there.
And the funny thing is everybody who thought you were like freaking crazy, like when I quit my job before all these people I was doing, they were like, you're an idiot. Come on, right? And now they're all like, hey, I got this business that this is a lot.
Oh, you made a bunch of money? Hey, let me see.
Yeah, exactly. That's what that's
You're excited. So, what have you been doing investing? So, what do you think the market's going to do?
So I do a mix, right? So I have I redeployed.
So we've had 217 views.
Not public.
But at night,
Disproportionate amount of public forum. And what I have, and I take a sliver of it. Yeah, I've got a couple guys that really work in like you gotta find an angle, right? So I work in I've got some guys that do a bunch of stuff in like the small capital, and find an angle and follow it. And I'm flying different skills and evaluating private business. So I think around with a slice of that.
great. Tim's doing a great job. You're doing an awesome job. I mean, this looks phenomenal. We're closing in on NBC.
You know what we need to do is we need to move the Belgian flag though. That's
Yeah.
Next time I do this, I'm going to come a little earlier so I can.
Position the
Yes.
But I mean, it looks great.
Thank you.
I mean, listen.
You do the math.
But have you started getting...
Will this be on YouTube? Like, will that
Yeah, you go back, just go to the Steve-O radio channel.
And I have friends.
And while you're crossing your fingers.
My dad was a surgeon. Very much my target is pretty never went.
So you totally figured out that.
For sure. Because you always. I know that there are some people
Yes.
Jessica is my good friend Kyle.
every time.
Yeah, but compared to the
Which he was watching. So I'm an 80 birthday. So I skied with like big brands. John, it's just watching.
Do you have a adapter from a old plug-in to the new iPhone? What's that called? No, plug that in. And what I would say is, from the old plug-in iPhone to the new, take stereo, dongle. Do you have a dongle? No. I don't even want to very much. Do you have a dongle? What are you trying to play? They're trying to play a song from in the middle, and they look at it. You've got a new iPhone, and you have an old iPod.
Let me check in where.
You can play it into a headset.
You guys sound great.
Whatever.
Down throughout the course of the show. All right, Jonas Knox here on Fox Sports Radio from the Geico Fox Sports Radio studios. You can get me on Twitter at @TheJonasKnox, @TheJonasKnox. All right, coming up next, potential bad news for one team in the NFL with a legitimate shot to win a Super Bowl. That's next year on Fox Sports Radio.
We've got so that's the radio. The stats, it's more the style, and that style can never be matched.
I've got a intro
really
you'll hear.
So don't ever.
And
I'm lying.
You'll hear me talk you in, and then there's a music.
Try to duplicate us. Bang! Just like that.
Hey, whoop it up. All weird. Okay. But I'll literally, it's me.
Their number one priority is protecting what matters most to you.
You'll hear it. I'll tap you.
For military veterans, that instinct to protect also comes naturally. No wonder thousands of veterans build good careers with Allstate. And now, Allstate is ranked the number one employer on the 2020 Military-Friendly Employers list. You're in good hands with Allstate.
For career opportunities or to get a quote, contact Allstate today. Allstate Fire and Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Norfolk, Illinois.
I'm Chris Riccobono, founder of Untucked. I started Untucked because, like a lot of other guys, I just couldn't find a shirt that looked great untucked. That's why we created the perfect untucked shirt with that just right length. We have over 50 fits for all shapes and sizes, so you can look sharp even at your most casual. This holiday season, give the original Untucked shirt. Visit one of 85 Untucked stores worldwide or at untucked.com. Untucked, shirts designed to be worn untucked.
Use promo code WINTER for 20% off your first purchase. That's promo code WINTER.
Happy holidays from Allen's Clothing. We're here to make your holiday shopping easy with unique gifts and great prices. Allen's also has the largest selection in town of cool clothing, 0.6, and smart wool size. So make it easy on yourself and come down to Allen's Clothing at 828 Lincoln Ave.
Hey, it's your local brewers, Erica and Christian with Yampa Valley Brewing. Brewing Company and the Barrel Cathedral. Visit the original brew house in Hayden behind A1 Liquor or enjoy our expanded selection at the Barrel Cathedral in Craig, located on Yamba Avenue. Cheers!
We'll see you there.
Now it's time for the Pro Football Pick and Win Contest. Make your free picks now at steamboatpilot.com/pro football for your chance to win weekly prizes locally from your friends at Snowball, Brow House, Arctic Liquor, McKnight's, and The Barley. Compete against your friends for bragging rights locally and nationally. Plus a shot to win the grand prize trip to Hawaii. Make your picks now at steamboatpilot.com/pro football. Brought to you by KTYV Sports on FM.
The question is, why would you want to be saved? And not just why should your salvation matter to you, but why does your salvation matter at all? Yes, you in heaven is better for you than you in hell, but that isn't the point. The more important question is, why is heaven better off with you in it? And why does that matter to God?
Steamboat Church of Christ, 1698 Lincoln Avenue.
Backdoor Sports, the backcountry shop in Northwest Colorado. Backdoor Sports is so backcountry, why, it's our middle name, Backdoor Backcountry Sports. So the next time you hear the word backcountry, think of Backdoor Sports. The Backcountry Store, 9th and Yampa, downtown Steamboat Springs.
Imagine your dream kitchen. Is it the one you have? If not, why let the heart of your home be anything but the kitchen you want? At Builder's First Source in Steamboat, their design specialist, Scott Graham, is ready to bring your dream to life with custom and stock cabinets featuring top brands like Dura Supreme, Mid-Continent, Timberlake, and Closet Made. Builder's First Source offers styles for all design tastes and budgets. So stop by their updated showroom today at 1500 13th Street or start your project online at bldrcolorado.com.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes Let's Grab Dinner in a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when the music starts. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely, like, "Good evening, officer."
Not yet.
A woman
It's a commercial.
that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says, "I'm a catch," more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The 25-year-old LeBron James or the 25...
Now flip.
It's time now for the Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic FIS Night Race on historic Howelson Hill. Brought to you in part by the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, Gold Support Partners, UC Health, Yampa Valley Bank, the City of Steamboat Springs, the Steamboat Ski and Resort Corporation, Native Excavate, Alpine Mountain Ranch and Club, Smart Wolf, Steamboat Sotheby's International Realty, and the SteamboatRadio.com family of radio stations. And heard here on KTYV Sports on FM at 105.7. Now let's head to the Crow's Nest at historic Howelson Hill, where John Nolting and Nick Kasoyan will have the call of tonight's race at historic Howelson Hill in downtown Steamboat.
Hey, Nick, it's a Holiday Classic night race time. The men are just about ready to go here at Howelson Hill.
Yep, fantastic. We already had a great race from the women's fantastic second run. A couple of cool surprises there. Now getting excited for the men and getting ready to let it rip.
Absolutely. Let's set the stage here. And if you are anywhere in downtown Steamboat Springs, it is just a short walk over the bridge across the Yampa River over here to watch the best slalom ski racing you are going to see in North America right here at Howelson Hill. We've got our top 30 racers lined up from the first run and two-run combined time event. So this, their second run, will determine the overall winners. We're going to send the 30th fastest skier from that first run first and work our way down to the first run race leader, who is Garrett Driller from Team America, holding a scant 1/10 of a 2nd lead over hometown Jet Seymour, last year's NCAA slalom champion, Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club racer for who knows how many years, 15 years he's been chasing his father and his mother down these slopes here in Steamboat Springs, as Hig Roberts, another former U.S. ski team athlete, Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club athlete, and brother of Murphy Roberts, for whom these races are named after, is running down the hill right here in honor of his brother Murph.
I'll tell you what, it's almost a shame we don't get to know what Hig's time is, because he looks like he's never missed a beat since he stopped racing. But yeah, just like you said, if you're anywhere within earshot of Howison Hill, you need to come on out over here. We've got a great crowd. Glühwein, so that's hot spiced wine, of course. We've got fire pits, tons of fun, lots of good ski racing action. And tonight the men are coming down on the skiers' right side of the hill, so left as we're looking up. And that makes it a couple of different types of difficulties. There obviously good steep pitch here at the bottom and top, but then some big transitions coming from the top pitch almost uphill for a split second as they come really wide outside on the saddle.
I went out to check out the course, Nick, and this one is got some rhythm changes. It's a little bit funky. It's not, you got to have your head on your shoulders at all times up there. Yeah, that middle section in the saddle, the way it comes over, it really does go uphill for a section there before it drops over the steepest, iciest part of the hill. And then, Nick, check out these big turns as these foreigners come down right before the finish.
Yeah, and that's crucial. Like you said, the big turns right before the finish, if you don't stay soft on your edges there, you're not going to be able to carry a great amount of speed across this last couple of gates in the flats, and it's crucial to bring that speed off of the pitch with you. So it will be pretty interesting. Of course, slalom and giant slalom are individual course sets for the first and the second run, and usually the coaches that are setting them will try their hardest to set something that their athletes will tend to have an advantage on as Santa Claus comes across the finish line.
Santa Claus made it, ladies and gentlemen. That is good news. Santa did not get hurt here on Howison Hill tonight, so he will be there on Tuesday evening, flying presents to all the good little girls and boys. Just finished his forerun here at Howison Hill, a holiday classic tradition to see Santa Claus run the course.
It is, and like you said, great run by Santa Claus. Want to make sure hopefully Mrs. Claus knows that he's out here, as we have a couple of slippers after these forerunners, prepping everything to get ready for our first athlete out of the gate. Like you said, they flipped 30, so it's a good opportunity for some of the younger kids or the less experienced athletes to punch their way up from maybe the 40s, 50s, even 60s, and have the chance to start on nice, fresh, clean snow with no track in it.
Conditions are excellent. It's a beautiful night here at Howison Hill. The racing should be exciting. We've got 4 Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club local racers that'll be the first out of the gate, with Cam Smith leading the way. He started in bib 48, moved up to 30th position, which means he gets to start first. He'll be followed by Trey Seymour and Chase Seymour. The twins will be going back-to-back, which should be a lot of fun to watch. And their older brother, Jet, sitting in second place and just 2/10 away from tasting that $4,000 that's on the line for first place.
Yeah, you think there's any competition there? Great cash purse this year. I think, like you said, maybe one of, if not the largest that we've had. As you were talking about, the way we changed up this year for the top 3 finishers to really give a little extra incentive to punch it and give everything you have for both runs, because first place means so much this year.
And here we go. Cam Smith on course from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. Cam, a postgraduate athlete, just joined the program last year, was racing out east prior to coming out here to Steamboat, and it's been great to have him in the program.
And really across the hill there, coming over the final roll onto the pitch here at the bottom, like you said, just swings really back and forth, having a pretty clean run. Of course, he's going to set the pace, and then we'll start comparing everybody to him after he comes across the finish line. Onto the flats, he's got to let it rip, and he's pushing, skating hard, and here we go for our first racer of the evening for the men's second run.
Cam setting the pace, and he crosses with into the lead, 46.77 his time. Tricky course, and Nick, it's going to be fun to watch all the way to the bottom. That hairpin at the bottom, which is a vertical combination, is set at the minimum distance. It looks like just 4 meters down there on the flats, and that could trip up skiers just 2 gates before the finish as we watch Trey Seymour
Yeah, and you got to, like you said with that hairpin, right, you have to focus all the way across the finish line. You know, my coaches used to tell me you don't stop focusing until you come to a complete stop. That way you don't get injured in the finish line. You've got to maintain that focus all the way. And here comes Mr. Seymour, one of the twin brothers coming down, letting it rip, and we'll see what he can do for his second run time.
Good run from Trey. Looked like he was letting those skis run a little bit more, a little bit lower in the line, and in fact, he does move into the lead. Trey Seymour, his total time, 1:33.06, moves into the lead by just over 0.6 of a second as his brother Chase gets ready to go. Chase now on course. Trey was up racing NORAMs. Chase was here racing yesterday, and he was third fastest, had a great run.
Yeah, and what a great way to get the Steamboat crowd fired up to have 4 Steamboat Winter Sports Club athletes to be the first ones to watch for this second run. This might be one of the bigger crowds that I've seen in all the years that I've been coming here.
They keep pushing their way up the hill. It is several people back from the ropes. Everybody with their nice Glühwein in hand, enjoying the night as Chase Seymour trying to capture that speed that he had yesterday. Third fastest in our junior race yesterday. Chase looking a little bit low. Did it cost him some time on the flats?
That hairpin, just like you said, just got him caught on his edges. Like you were saying, the distance between gates there is so tight. I think he just got stuck on one of those edges. He did make it across the finish line, but definitely cost him time.
This hill is so steep, but at the very bottom for the last 4 gates, it's as flat as the parking lot. And yeah, it's a tricky section. Chase going into third place with a 1:34.44 as we watch Matt Smallhouse. Matt, a new skier to the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club program, another post-grad athlete. He traveled from the west out to Steamboat, and Matt's putting down a good run.
Yeah, he looks to be pretty clean on the final pitch here, and big swingers across, big swinging turns across right before the flats. He's on it. He got a little hung up on his edge. And he got hung up also at the hairpin. Looks like he's actually hiking for the last 2 gates of the course, so he will get a time, but it's going to be very slow. This could turn into an extremely exciting race with this second run course set.
It's going to be interesting. Steamboat coach Mike Bansmer set this course, and there are multiple tricks. That's not the only one, but that's been the one catching people up so far as Smallhouse moves into 4th. This is Logan Martin, raced at Winter Park, then went to Vail, and now he's at Plymouth State.
All right, well, sir, I'm sure by this point now the guys up top have gotten course report about how crucial it is bringing the speed off the pitch, but then more importantly, like you said, this hairpin that's literally right before the finish. We'll see how he does as he's coming to it right now.
They feel like they're not even moving. It feels so slow down there on the flats, but they've got to realize it's just how tough the course is set there. Logan Martin moving into 3rd position with a 1:34.31 as we watch Ari Van Vuren. He's a Bates College Bobcat, races for Great Britain. A couple of Brits out here tonight, which is cool. This is an international race. Another fantastic thing about the Holiday Classic, and coming here during the winter time, during the winter break for a lot of the collegiate athletes, you get so much participation. I think you said 15 countries represented here tonight. Absolutely, and Ari now in Lewiston, Maine, skiing for Bates College there. It looks like Ari's having a good run.
Yep, and he seems to be pretty clean, bringing it across, and he made it through that.
That was nice. Yes. That was very nice. He barely made it through, but he kept his speed, and Ari moves into the lead with a 1:32.89. Ari Van Vuren, our new leader. Preston O'Brien up top. He's from the Sugar Bowl ski team.
And it looks like a little bit of a spray on one of those turns up there, but if you look at the bottom of the course, you got to think it swings back and forth across that top pitch just as much. So it looks like he's made it a good transition onto the final pitch, and here he comes.
Sometimes I tell the racers you can't be evaluating as you're coming down. You've just got to go. And this course has sections where it's really slow and sections where it's really fast. You got to just keep it moving.
And that's some of the best advice you can think of, because you might have made a mistake, but you might have made less of a mistake than the rest of the field.
And Preston O'Brien he had a mistake up there, but lo and behold, he moves into the lead by a decent margin, about a half second, 1:32.35 his time, as Harrison Goss now, our first Colorado Mountain College skier, making his way down the hill.
And to your point, that's exactly why you have to push all the way through the finish line, because you just never know. And it looks like, unfortunately, unfortunately, Harrison had a big puff of snow. Got himself, he's back in the course now, but that's going to end his evening, unfortunately. He took a little detour up there.
Yeah, that was just in the section where the gate literally is up the hill to the next turn, and so not a good place to make a mistake for Harrison.
No, and it is tough because, of course, with CMC here in the Yampa Valley, it's his hometown race, but he will finish this evening's second run.
Yeah, he's not happy about it, unfortunately. 1:38.41 his time is Garrett Black, his teammate, another Colorado Mountain College skier, making his way down.
And we'll see. The ladies' course held up quite well for the second run, I'd say, as far as the track condition. Of course, these first 30 guys do put a little bit more energy into the snow, as they're typically a little bit heavier. So hopefully the track can hold up. But, it will be interesting to see as we get towards the first place guy, who's, of course, running 30th this run, how things go as we progress.
That section that he just skied through is the steepest part of the hill, and it is icy up there. I was slipping this morning, and I could barely make it down. Really icy. These guys have got their skis razor sharp.
Yeah, well, we know how sharp Coach's skis are, so yours probably not.
Not quite there as Garrett moves into third place with a 1:32.97. Clay Kerwood now on course. Clay, former Ski and Snowboard Club Vail racer, now at Dartmouth College.
Yeah, a lot of these athletes, of course, there's a lot of ski colleges out east, which is why lots of them go out there, but I never get the appeal. New England winters are just not as nice as Colorado winters, that's for sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, skiing for the University of Colorado, a little bit better, although you get one side of your face wind blown, the other side sunburn there at Eldora, but I'll take that going back to Boulder over those eastern campuses. But Peter Dodge got a great program at Dartmouth, and Clay Kerwood skiing well down here.
He looks like he's really carrying some speed. He's using the grooves, and oh man, he hooked his tip on that hairpin, and he is down literally right in front of the finish line.
Crowd can almost touch him as he's down on his back down there. Tough break for Clay Kerwood. I think we're going to see him back here in 2 weeks at the World Pro Ski Tour, though, as he debuted at the Vail race earlier. As we look for Henry Hakushima, another Colorado Mountain College skier.
It's cool to see so many CMC guys represented here this year. I think this might be one of the larger turnouts that I've seen from Colorado Mountain College.
Absolutely. Scott Tanner doing a great job there. He set the first run course. His guys skied well on it, and this is a good run from Henry, but he's getting
oh no! And he got late on that left-footed turn and tried to bring it back across the hill. You can see where his ski trenched the snow, and he just got caught out and straddled the next gate. Hopefully he's okay.
He's got lots of people to help him, that's for sure. As Henry Hayden, the Aussie racing for Ski and Snowboard Club Vail, comes onto the top pitch.
Yeah, and at this point, you got to wonder what the course reports are like going to the guys up top. The final 10 gates of this course is starting to catch some of these young guys out.
Well, I saw the tricks in inspection. Hopefully these guys did too, because it's tough when your course report is telling you something you didn't expect, but maybe they didn't appreciate how much the course really turns and how difficult it is right before the flats.
And they're really carrying pretty good speed as we have Hayden coming across the finish line now.
Hayden did a nice job through that difficult section in the hairpin. He moves into second place just off the pace. Preston O'Brien still holding the lead. Henry Hayden just a half second back in second. And here comes Zane Worrell. Zane skiing for Ski and Snowboard Club Vail, but he grew up here in Steamboat. Parents Rob and Angie, former coaches here in Steamboat, and he should do well on this hill.
Yeah, and Rob and Angie, of course, great ambassadors for the sport, been around for a long time. I remember them from when I was racing, so a lot of good heritage there for Zane, and hopefully he can keep his speed as he comes down the middle of the pitch, and he's getting ready to come into this last section, see how he can hold on.
He was charging for sure, but he set up that section down there well. Can he get through the hairpin?
And he has made it through the hairpin. It looks a little slow, though.
And he does finish into sixth position, so just off the pace, moving back, 1:33.12 the time for Zane Worrell.
Yeah, it looks like this is going to be just as we suspected. It's turning into quite the interesting race. It looks like maybe we're on a short hold, possibly for course maintenance. And maybe somebody... Oh, here we go. We got our next athlete coming into view now.
This is Willis Feasy. He was an Olympian for the country of New Zealand, competed in Pyeongchang for the Kiwis, and looking strong.
I'll tell you, New Zealand, of course, a worldwide destination for Northern Hemisphere summers. Almost all the national teams that go there, at least at one point in their year, they've got great races down there as well. So I'm sure he's ready to punch one here tonight in Steamboat.
Oh, he is letting him run. Is he going to hold it through? If he does, he had the speed. Can he get through that hairpin? And he barely sneaks through. Let's see if it was fast. We've got a new leader, Willis Feasy, into first place, 138.84 by a half second, and that Olympic experience paid off in front of this big crowd.
And you could see him carrying that speed, but man, with that speed, he practically had to throw his feet sideways back and forth through that hairpin to make it, but he made it and obviously carried his speed across the line.
On course right now, looks like we've got a Westminster College skier. This is Micah Wall,
and he's looked at a couple of later turns on the pitch, but that's an okay place to do it as far as keeping your speed up, and he looks to be carrying some speed as he comes down here. He's got to make it through this hairpin, though.
All right, he charges through the finish. He's a Norwegian, and he crosses into third place with a 132.64, about 0.8 of a second out. As we're halfway through the flip, the first 15 skiers are through. We've got 15 more to get down to our first run leader, who is Garrett Driller from Team America, as we watch a great group of young kids slip in here, the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, younger athletes coming out watching. Nick, this is kind of like Steamboat's World Cup. This is the best ski racing, top-level athletes here, and these young kids come out to watch and learn and dream about one day competing in the Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic.
Yeah, absolutely. Like you said, it's a fantastic opportunity for them to see some people that they've probably been looking up to. In the women's race, we had some World Cup athletes. One of them, in fact, won unofficially first place, and she's probably going to be going from here to the World Cup next week. And so, really cool for these young guys. And also, thank you to them very much for helping, keep this track good. Obviously, thanks to the parents for coming out to support everybody, and obviously the coaches and the course workers.
Pretty cool for them to come down and see. They come down to this finish area. They see the hundreds and hundreds of people that have gathered to watch, the fire pits, the smoke up in the air, and just that special feeling of a holiday classic night race.
Well, they don't call it Ski Town USA for nothing, right? You've got two great skiers. You got the Howelson Hill and you've got Mount Warner. You can see Howelson, so if you're within earshot of us, you can't get lost. Go towards the light, and you're going to make it over here to a lot of fun tonight.
We've got our top 15 racers still left, and Jack Lindsay from Colorado Mountain College now on course.
And he's just coming into the saddle, but we lose him for a split second as he kind of comes up and over the rise, past all the coaches. Now he's making his way onto the final pitch, and this is the time where he needs to turn it on, and the crowd's going to start going wild here.
$4,000 goes out to our winner tonight. And Jack Lindsay from Colorado Mountain College, he spent a year with the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club last year. He's skiing well. He knows this hill.
Yeah, and there's such an advantage to being a senior athlete, an experienced athlete on this hill, because it is a lot more difficult than it appears at first.
Jack Lindsay into sixth position. It is really tight out there. Only a second separating our top six. 132.96 the time. And yesterday's junior race winner from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, here comes Louis Wynn on course. Can he harness that speed he had yesterday and try to bump it up a few notches so he can finish in the top three against the big dogs?
I got a chance to meet this young man last night at dinner, at the Champions Dinner, and I'll tell you what, he seems really put together. It would be exciting for him to be able to punch one in here this run.
Louis had great success when he was young out of Buck Hill. Lots of slalom reps. Then he had a little lull, and it seems like Louis is back. It's so great to see. Can he get through that quick hairpin at the bottom? Louis Wynn across the line and into fourth place for Louis. 132.67, about 0.8 of a second back of Willis Feasy from New Zealand, our leader. That Olympic experience paying off for him as Sergey Pugalem from Colorado Mountain College, former Buck Hill racer. Then he came to Steamboat to train, and now he's skiing for Scott Tanner up at Colorado Mountain College.
Yeah, Scott must be doing some recruiting, huh? Because he's got a lot of guys in this race. So good good for him. Good for those guys going there. Local community college, fantastic place. They've obviously got campuses all around the state, and he looks like he's going pretty quick down the final pitch here.
They're going to be making some noise for Sergey. He's a crowd favorite. Everybody loves him. Is he making his way toward the finish? Looks like he's made it through.
He was just a bit hard on his edges right before the flats, and I think he lost some speed there.
Yeah, and that cost him into third place for Sergey. And Willis Feasy still holding on to that lead as Alexander Birkner, CU development skier. Just goes to show how tough it is to make the varsity squad at the University of Colorado.
Yeah, definitely. And here he comes into view. I was just looking real quick at Willis Feasy's time behind Garrett Driller, and it's about 3 seconds. But as we saw in the women's run, it still could put you in potential for a podium position.
There are enough tricks on this course that anything could happen. As Birkner looks like he's putting together a good run.
Yeah, for sure. I think he's just down on speed a little bit, and as he crosses the finish line here.
You cannot make a mistake coming onto the flats. It is so flat down there, and Birkner moves into 12th position. That did cost him. Now up the hill, it's a Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club racer, Noah Remenschneider. He is fresh back from Nakiska, Canada, where he's competing in the NORAMs, and he's one of these guys, 10th fast after the first run, that's got an outside chance. Maybe he can take advantage. No pressure in this spot. Just go ski fast, see what happens.
Yeah, and with a last name that long, it's a good thing he's not a basketball player. I don't think they could fit that name on the back of the jersey. But
he goes by R15, just to make it simple. 15 letters in that last name.
What a great nickname. That's perfect for him. Hopefully he can carry some speed. He's coming onto the flats right now. Few gates left to go, including that treacherous hairpin, and here he comes across the finish line.
And Remenschneider across the line, R15, putting into position number 2 as Feasy still holding on to that lead. Noah into second place, and here is a hometown favorite, now racing for the University of Denver Pioneers, a freshman onto that team, Cole Puckett.
Yeah, obviously good family racing heritage there with his dad and his uncle. I'm sure Chris is on the hill screaming somewhere for him. He looks like he is flying down this final pitch here. Obviously he's got to be able to bring the speed across, and of course that final hairpin is the clutch part of this second course.
This would make Andy Leroy proud. The crowd is going absolutely wild. Cole Puckett, rock solid.
And here he comes. He's made it through the hairpin, crossing the finish line.
And across the line, we've got a new leader, Cole Puckett, moving into the lead by over a half a second. A great run for the University of Denver Pioneer, as last year's night race champion Jacob Dilling has left the start gate.
Man, it's getting intense down here as we're moving into the top 10 from the first run. The crowd is filled in. We've got so many people here. They're starting to go up the side of the hill, and it is super exciting. You may be able to hear the crowd and the cowbells behind us. It's a lot of fun here tonight at Howson Hill. Great weather that we're having, nice and cold, good visibility, and here they come.
By 0.03 of a second, Dilling won last year just over Jet Seymour, but he's got work to do this year. Now racing for the U.S. ski team, Jacob Dilling across the line and into second position. It's not to be this year, 1:31.59. He's about 34 hundredths back of our leader, Cole Puckett, as Nick Santinello, another DU Pioneer who comes from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, making his way down the hill.
And actually, for a time, I coached this kid, so I'd like to see Nick punch one in there real well, even though I'm a buff, of course. Nothing against the DU Pios. I guess it's better than being CSU Ram, but hopefully Nick can punch one down here on the pitch and get a good result for himself and, of course, for the DU Pioneers.
A couple little bobbles in there, but it looks like he's holding his speed together well, but this is the key section, Nick.
Yeah, and this is it. He's got to bring the speed. He's got to get through this hairpin, which he has, but looks a little slow across the flats.
That was a great first run for Nick as we look for the time, and it's second fastest, 200ths behind his teammate Cole Puckett. As Kyle Negamir now on course. Kyle, a member of the U.S. ski team, another one of these athletes, Nick, that was in Nakiska racing on Friday, hopped a plane to come here and compete in this night race.
And I really think that the participation from the sponsors with the cash purse has driven a lot of these top level athletes here. Like you said, $4,000 for the top step on the podium tonight for both the men and the women. So a lot to run for, and he looks like he's flying down the hill.
It's fun to see. I saw Kyle's on the first run. I was standing right there, and it looked rock solid, but it just didn't look that fast. fast.
And he got caught out on the edge. So he's going to get back in the course and finish, but
yeah, he was going for it that time because he realized on that first run you can't ski safe with this field and this money on the line, and it cost him. And unfortunately, that mistake will take him out of the running in a 20th place. As Toby Kogler now, an Austrian racing for the University of Denver, makes his way down the top pitch.
Yeah, but if you're going to let it all hang out, you got to put it right on the edge. And unfortunately, he just went over the edge enough that it cost him. But that's how we get the best ski racing out here, is to get people to go 100% the whole time.
As you would expect from an Austrian, Toby rock solid, getting on his inside ski for one of those turns, but rarely do you see a mistake from this skier from the University of Denver.
There's a pretty solid track getting put in down here, and he looks like he's carrying pretty good speed across the flats, made it through that hairpin, finally across the finish line.
And Kogler moving into first place by 1 second over Cole Puckett. We've got a new leader, Toby Kogler, and it's going to be exciting because we just have 4 more skiers to go with the chance at unseating Toby, and it's going to start with Bridger Guile, a U.S. ski team member, and I was impressed with Bridger's first run. He was really charging.
Yeah, it's great to have these guys out here, like you said, for the young kids that have helped us to slip. You got U.S. ski team members, people racing World Cup, NORAMs, just got done with a NORAM for some of these guys, and it's super exciting, man. He is pushing it down the pitch.
Got a little bit low on there, but that's the steepest part of the hill, so you get your speed right back. Like I said, in that first run, he's bringing that same charge and getting a little low.
Yeah, he got his hand in the snow there. It might cost him a little bit of time just based on the drag that he's got. Let's see how he comes across the finish.
It was a good recovery, but at this point, there's a slim margin for error, but Bridger moves into the lead, 1:29.49 by 7/10 of a second. He takes the lead over Toby Kogler as Jimmy Krupka, now racing for Dartmouth College, a U.S. ski team athlete, making his way down. We're down to the top 3 from the first run, and these guys were packed in there pretty close.
And yeah, you got to keep in mind some of these guys that have already come that are sitting down here in the top 2 and 3, they had a time disadvantage over the first run, and so as we get into the top guys, they got a little bit of a cushion. Unfortunately, it looks like Jimmy had a bit of a mistake at the coach's knoll.
Yeah, I think this has been a tough run for Jimmy, not what he was looking for. You've got to be perfect with the level of talent that's out here tonight. Jimmy with a few mistakes as we look to the time as he crosses. And it's going to be a second place finish for Jimmy, which I'm impressed with. That says a lot for his skiing, that he could be a 10th of a second out with the bobbles that he had. And now it's Jet Seymour, last year's NCAA slalom champion, racing for the University of Denver, a hometown Steamboat Springs boy, skiing down that top pitch.
So, funny story, his dad, John, and my dad have been friends since before I was born. If you can believe that, John Seymour taking me skiing up here on Mount Warner since before I can remember practically. So I hope that Jet has a great run.
There aren't many guys as passionate about skiing as John Seymour, and he transferred that to his boys. Jet having to make some great recoveries down there, but that's costly as he comes onto the flat. Can he keep it together, and is it going to be enough?
Yeah, he had a couple of bobbles, like you said. We'll see as he crosses the finish line.
And Jet Seymour is going to ski into 4th place. Those mistakes cost him. That was a tough run for Jet. As Bridger Guile holding on to the lead. And our final racer now from the flip, Garrett Driller from Team America, our first race leader, looking for that $4,000 first place prize.
Yeah, and Bridger did have about almost an 8/10 of a second lead over our current unofficial leader, Bridger. So we'll see if that's enough of a gap, because of course this course has been challenging, and we'll see what happens here.
This is a good-looking run from Garrett Driller. He competes on the Pro Tour as well and did really well last year in that circuit. And Garrett Driller, it looks like a good run, and will it be enough? Yes, Garrett Driller is our Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic Night Race champion by 9/10 of a second. Garrett Driller, 1:28.59, will take the win as we put a bunch of slippers on the hill before we go to our 31st race runner. That was Bodie Flanagan, another Steamboat boy, so he'll get a chance to put down a fast run. But Garrett Driller, dominant, taking both runs, winning both runs. I really like it when you see that top skier winning both runs to go to that win. That means there's no doubt who the best skier was on the day.
For sure, and it just goes to show you that, because he started 5th, so start 5th, start 30th. If you have that kind of talent and skill set, you can punch it from pretty much anywhere in the running order.
An absolutely great race. The guys going for the prize money, the top 3, Garrett Garrett Driller in first, Bridget Gall in second, Jimmy Krupka in third. We want to thank our prize sponsors, the T2 Foundation, David Baldinger Jr., the Colgan Foundation, Edward Jones offices of Chris Puckett and David Lamb, Gwen Rogers, Peter Daly, David High with Alpine Bank, and of course thanks to you, Nick, from Emick Volkswagen for your support of the Murphy Roberts Holiday Classic prize purse this year.
Yeah, thank you again, and Fred, Emick, and I love to be able to come up here and help out, and it's just one of the things I look forward to every year, coming to the Holiday Classic, coming to see this great ski race here in Steamboat Springs.
All right, we're going to wrap up with our radio broadcast. We will finish with our video broadcast. Stay tuned on the YouTube channel for Steamboat Radio to watch the rest of the race as Bodie Miller and the rest of the competitors make their way down. And we've got Bodie Flanagan on course. Bodie 44th in that 44 start position, moved up into 31st position. When you start right after the fastest guy in the field, it's your job to try to make it look like we're still in the top group of racers, and Bodie has a very dynamic skier as Max Burvey leaves up above. Bodie Flanagan through the finish. Bodie with a 1:35.37 moves up into 25th position as Max Burvey from CU makes his way onto the lower part of the course. Scott Bocock has just left the start. University of Colorado Buffalo, Max Burvey trying to put a good finish in. Scotty Bocock up top. He's a member of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. And Max Burvey across the line. He will move into 25th position, 1:34.99 the time. Scotty Bocock now on to the lower pitch. Tanner Perkins just left the starting gate. Good looking skiing here from Scotty Bocock. He had a mistake in that first run, kept him outside of the flip, which was unfortunate. Wanting to put a good clean run, move up a few spots here. Can he make it through that tight hairpin? And he gets a little sideways, throws some spray across the finish, and has to hike back up to that last gate. And that hairpin has got another victim as Scotty Bocock will finish back of the pack, unfortunately for him. Tanner Perkins from Aspen on course. Cam Owens, another local racer from the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club, on the top part of the course. As we watch Tanner Perkins make his way to the finish. Big crowd out tonight watching as Tanner crosses the line into 28th position, 1:37.38 the time. Cam Owens from Steamboat Springs now on course this course. Oh, and Cam straddles up there, gets stuck. Straddle, put his pole between his legs, and that doesn't work on that part of the pitch. It'll be a did not finish for Cam Owens. Will Cashmore now on course, the Colorado Mountain College skier from New Zealand. He skied a year with the Winter Sports Club last year, so he knows this hill well. Just leaving the gate is Isaac Mosen as we watch Will Cashmore from New Zealand. Scott Tanner coaching him at Colorado Mountain College just across the highway. Good looking run for Will as Isaac Mosen from Sugar Bowl is on the top part of the course. We're watching Will Cashmore across the line, and he moves into 29th position with a 1:37.74. Isaac Mosen from Sugar Bowl on course. Kyle Kagan, a local boy, Steamboat Springs, has just left the starting gate. Exciting racing. Garrett Driller taking the win. Bridger Guile second place. Jimmy Krupka in third. Toby Kogler fourth. Jet Seymour fifth. And Cole Puckett in sixth position as across the line comes Isaac Mosen into 29th with a 1:37.55. Moving up a few more spots for Isaac. Kyle Kagan now in the lower section of the course. Taggart Mueller from St. Lawrence University up top. Kyle getting thrown a little bit wide, but doing a good job of staying the course, putting his hand down. That's a tough spot right before the flats, and Kyle just can't hold it together, having to go the long way around that last gate. Coming onto the flats, that's unfortunate. There have been quite a few mistakes down here at the bottom. Tough break for Kyle as he'll move back with that run. Taggart Mueller from St. Lawrence now coming at you. Will Snyder has left the start up there. Will Snyder As across the line is Taggart Mueller from St. Lawrence. He's into 28th position, a 1:36.57. So Taggart moving up a few spots on that second run. 27th fastest on that run as Will Snyder heads towards us. Zach Mickelson on the top part, a local racer for the Winter Sports Club now at Colorado Mountain College. Looks like some trouble up there for Will Snyder. He'll be a did not finish. Zach Mickelson now on the top part of the course, making his way across the saddle. Zach Mickelson has got a lot of laps on this hill, and he goes inside and off course. Tough break for Zach Mickelson, one of the tallest skiers in the field, and when you get your body too far to the inside of your skis and you're as tall as Zach is, there's no margin for error, and he goes out. Nelson Oxley now on course. Nelson, a Colorado boy, Winter Park, and now at St. Lawrence University, making his way across the saddle and onto the lower part of the course. His dad, Jeff, coaching for the Winter Park Competition Center as Tegan Turner from Sugar Bowl leaves the start. Watching Nelson Oxley making his way towards the bottom part of the course. And Oxley looks like he skied a good run as he reaches across the line. Nelson will have a time that'll put him into 33rd position, 1:38.96, the combined time. Tegan Turner on the lower section of the course. Cooper Puckett, hometown boy, first year FIS racing for Cooper up at the top. And these are the guys that are battling for that top prize for the athletes in their first year who do not have an international rank yet. So they start in the back of the field as Tegan Turner crosses with 33rd fastest, 1:38.92 the time. Cooper Puckett now on course. Jordan Simon, another steamboat racer, has just left the start. Coop looks like he's got some good speed down here on the lower section. Can he hold it together? Getting some good shape on these last couple turns. Those ruts are a little low. Cooper's kept his line high as Jordan Simon on his tails coming into the saddle. Cooper Puckett reaches across the line. That was a good run. He'll move up several spots into 29th position. Here comes Jordan Simon. Charlie Snyder about to leave the start. He's on course up top as Jordan Simon. A little bit on his tails up there, looking to let that speed run onto the flats. The crowd cheering as he makes his way down toward the lower section of the course. Here comes Jordan Simon to the finish. Charlie Snyder from Sun Valley up top, and Jordan Simon leaning across the line, and Jordan will finish into 34th position with a 1:38.85. Colton Sankey has just left the starting gate. You're watching Charlie Snyder slide down on his belly as he had some trouble up there in the saddle. Charlie Snyder from Sun Valley is out. It'll be a will not finish for Charlie Snyder as Colton Sankey on the upper section of the course and into the saddle. Colty taking a post-grad year, a gap year as they call it, between high school and college, trying to improve his ranks to try to make one of those strong skiing programs. Colton, a member of the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club. He knows this hill well, getting a little bit sideways in some of those turns, but holding his speed together well as Luke Conway from Gilboa has left the start. Here comes Colton Sankey. That last tricky hairpin, he's made it through, and Colton Sankey crossing in 37th place with a 1:39.58. Luke Conway from Team Gilboa now on the lower pitch. Next racer out of the start, Wyatt Palmer's left the gate. Wyatt's from Aspen, and some trouble there for Luke from Team Gilboa, but he's kept it on the course. Trains at Highland Hills in Bloomington, Minnesota. Good solid skiing down here for Luke as he makes his way through that final hairpin across the line. Luke Conway will stretch to a time of 1:39.91 into 38th position. Here comes Wyatt Palmer from Aspen onto the lower section of the course. Tommy Tesla has just left the start. Tommy, a Mammoth Mountain Ski Team athlete. Wyatt Palmer coming to the finish, and Wyatt's going to cross, and he'll have a time of 1:41.10, 1:41.10 into 39th place for Wyatt Palmer. Tommy Tesla from Mammoth Mountain in California. Started 63rd in that first run, moved himself up into 50th place after that first run, looking to make a few more moves up through the rankings on this second run is Tommy Tesla, making his way onto the bottom of the course through that final tough hairpin, gets a little twisted, but manages to make it through the finish line, and he'll have a time on that second run of 51.39, puts him into 39th position overall with a 1:40.95 as we hold the course for a big snow preparation break. We'd like to thank here at the Steamboat Springs Winter Sports Club our annual gold support partners that help make this race possible. UC Health, the City of Steamboat Springs, Native Excavating, Alpine Mountain Ranch and Club, Smartwool, Steamboat Ski and Resort Corporation, Steamboat Sotheby's International Realty, Yampa Valley Bank, our newest gold support partner, Soda Mountain Construction and Design, and of course Steamboat Radio providing tonight's live video stream on the YouTube channel of Steamboat Radio. Thank you so much for that. It was exciting early on as our fastest skiers made their way down, and it was Garrett Driller taking the win by 9/10 of a second over the U.S. ski team's Bridger Guile, who had a heck of a day of racing, but not quite enough to pass Garrett Driller. Jimmy Krupka finishing in